welcome to another edition of Hoosier Hometown Heroes, where we like to shed a spotlight on interesting, innovative, exciting local Indiana businesses, business people, and personalities. I'm Tony Val. And today I'm very excited to have as my guest Bob Gallup. Bob is the owner of Mr. Reuter Plumbing of Central Indiana. Bob, thanks for being my guest today.
Well, thanks, Tony, and thanks for having us.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. Bob, I was excited to have you on, partly because as I look at your background, you have quite an illustrious sales and marketing career, and you took ownership of Mr. Reuter in 2012, and I'm assuming that there's a little bit of this latest venture of yours that necessitated learning some new skills. I'm sure you got the sales and marketing down pat, but I'd love to hear about what about your business was brand new to you.
Well, people ask me, why did I decide to go into the plumbing services industry? And it boiled down to a very simple thing. It's all about taking care of the customer and sending a qualified technician to the home. And that background of sending a qualified technician to the home is something that was near and dear to my heart in a prior career. And so taking the concept of taking a quality professional who's well-trained, licensed, and bonded to your home to take care of your entire plumbing needs, not just fix a problem, but take care of the whole house, was really something that first resonated to me. And then as I got into the business, what you learn is the variability of the plumbing circumstance from house to house, street to street, neighborhood to neighborhood, combined with the different ways that the plumbing systems that the cities and the utilities would deliver to the home really makes it a very interesting experience. So there are no two homes that are the same.
I'm sure that must be very challenging. I wanted to make a bit of a point in defense of modern plumbing. In preparing to talk to you, I did a little bit of research. I saw a very interesting research paper that tracked the incidence of disease in America through the history of our country. And this very interesting study showed a much stronger correlation with reduced disease to the history of plumbing rather than the history of vaccines per se. So I wanted to hear from you. I know based on your reputation how seriously you guys take plumbing, but I wanted to hear it from the horse's mouth, as they say. How do you guys view what you do in terms of the importance of modern plumbing?
Yeah, that is probably the most understated, underappreciated topic in this entire industry, Tony. If you go back to what separates a civilized country versus a developed country, it really first and foremost starts with the plumbing infrastructure. Running water in a home and indoor plumbing is an example. And, that can be very well seen if you just cross from San Diego into Mexico, and specifically Tijuana. I mean, it is the same coast, it is the same soil, it is the same land. And a developed country like the United States compared to a developing country like Mexico is really night and day. You take that, and then you go back to the plumbers used to be viewed, especially as developing the country that, the United States was after World War I and World War II, as a hero that took care of delivering clean water to your house, delivering clean water to your business and to your restaurants, and then removing what we call the gray water, which is the used water afterwards. And so there used to be, kind of in a World War II kind of moniker right along Uncle Sam, just picture this plumber on top of the world saying, we plumbers protect the health and well-being, of the United States of America. And that couldn't be more true. And we bring that all full circle in that I'm on the board of the Fishers Rotary. And one of our big annual events is to raise money to put wells in Sierra Leone. And we have the president of Sierra Leone on a video cast during this fundraising event we had 2 weeks ago talk about how when a well is put in a town, the waterborne disease is dissipated. And they haven't had a single infant mortality death rate in a town that has a well put in it that can be directly attributed to disease in the water. And so here in the United States, we take that for granted until it doesn't work.
Yes, we take it for granted.
You go to a home and all of a sudden, if the sewer system, which is the main pipes that take the waste out of your home and put it into the city wastewater treatment centers, if that stops working, you quickly realize how important that really is and how we all take it for granted. And so it all comes together with, if we're doing our job, no one notices that we're there. Right? The water is clear. It comes in clear. It leaves. You never know the difference. There are no leaks. There are no sounds. There are no messes. There are no anything. Hot water is hot when you want it to be. Your sump pump, dissipates the water when the rain comes and it doesn't show up and create, a mess in your basement or your crawl space. And so all of that is really something that drives all of us in this plumbing industry to really do the right thing for the customer.
Yeah, Bob, I see a lot of similarities actually between your business and my business. My business is IT consulting, and I think the similarity is that when we're doing our job, no one knows, no one thinks about us. And when something goes wrong, we are expected to be Johnny on the spot at a moment's notice. While we are fixing servers and computers and internet connections that go down, you guys are called upon to, fix bursting pipes and who knows what else. I'm curious to hear from you, Bob. How do you internally, you and your team, take the kind of the ongoing pressure of being a 24/7 response team that is called when the customer is really experiencing quite a bit of pain?
Yeah, that's a great question. First and foremost, it starts with the team and the men and women that are part of Mr. Rooter Plumbing here in Central Indiana. And with the right team and the right mindset and the right training, we then put the right schedule in place, because we also want people to have a balance between family and work. So we've got people that are on call, and we have backups beyond the on-call. But really fundamentally, just like people in the fire protection or the police business, we're an emergency response. And so we pride ourselves on answering our phone locally here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We pride ourselves on going out to your house or your business at all hours of the day or night, and we don't charge extra for that. And we pride ourselves on a flat rate price that basically says you're going to know what the cost is up front before we do any work, and it doesn't matter whether that's 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 3 o'clock in the morning. And so with that kind of a mindset, we're working on building a plumbing services company that is the best in the business that we choose and in the markets that we choose to serve. We don't necessarily want to be the biggest, although we know we need to be of a certain size. And we want to have specialization, whether it's light industrial, heavy commercial, or residential. And we want to back all that up with the right kinds of tools. But it all starts with someone answering the phone. And when you call Mr. Rooter Plumbing here in Central Indiana, you get a person that's part of this team answering that phone. And then that person will dispatch a local technician who lives, works, and plays in the community in which you live. And then they will go to your house and they will take care of whatever the circumstance is, and take care of the whole person, including the problem area. And we focus very much on diagnosing what the customer needs first and foremost, as opposed to what the technical issue is, because there's a story that can be told, a story akin to when you go to see your family practitioner and you want to tell them what's brought you there. And instead of all of a sudden just letting them prescribe something and out the door you go and you hope that it works. So we want to do that holistic care of the person, the family, and then the plumbing circumstance. And then we button all of that up with a plumbing safety checkup, where we'll give the homeowner free of charge review of what goes on in their house and give them a list of things they may want to think about in the future if things do need to be attended to.
Yeah, well, I think just solely based on your reputation and awards that can be seen through Angie's List, you guys are clearly doing something very right in terms of customer satisfaction, customer care. And I know obviously you work here locally. You and I have another thing in common in that we're both from Chicago. Did you grow up in Chicago, Bob?
I did. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago. I certainly did. I grew up in Naperville.
I grew up in Lisle, one town over. Wow.
Well, as a matter of fact, Tony, I actually did grow up in Lisle, but no one ever heard of Lisle. So I went to Lisle High School. I went to the University of Illinois in Champaign afterwards, and then I worked up in the Arlington Heights area. My parents to this day still live in Lisle.
That is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, so I would like to ask you, again, you and I are similar in that our businesses are run here out of Indianapolis. I'd love to hear what you love about doing business here in Indianapolis.
Indianapolis is slowly but surely not becoming a well-kept secret. And when I moved here in the early 90s, it was one of those small town locations. But what I've seen as time has progressed is people are genuine. They want to be treated fair, and they treat others fairly. It's a town that you can get your hands around. So it's a big small town or a small big town, depending upon your perspective. It's a town where there are a lot of entrepreneurs, and so we as a business try to buy from locally owned businesses because we're locally owned, albeit backed by an international franchise, but we're locally owned nonetheless. And just getting to know the people here, unlike Chicago that's got 5-6 million people, you can get to know communities and neighborhoods, and you can be connected with the sports of the Colts, and the Pacers. In fact, my next door neighbor is a new Pacer that I think I've seen him more on the court than I have at home. So that has been very neat to see. To see the community rally behind certain causes, whether it is the White River and the renovation that goes on there, or building the new Mass Ave for commercial and business and places to live, or the expansion in Carmel.
Well, speaking of solid businesses, it's been my pleasure to have you here today, Bob, and congrats on your success. And maybe I'll run into you around the Lisle Bowl or Reedy's Tea Time down in Lisle, Illinois, someday over the holidays.
Well, Tony, I'd enjoy that very much. So thank you, and happy holidays to you and all the listeners.
Same to you, Bob. Thanks.
All righty.